Well, for those of you who missed it, Isiah Thomas recently put out his all-time top 10 list, and needless to say, it was arguably the most laughable list produced in recent memory. A list that had Michael Jordan at 8 all-time behind Shaquille O'Neal. A list so absolutely preposterous, it obviously must be born out of pure pettiness and, dare I say, even butthurtedness. And is that even a real word, you might be asking yourself? Well, perhaps not, but it does accurately and succinctly describe the feelings of utter insignificance Isiah Thomas is still feeling towards Michael Jordan now 35 years later. So if you don't know, allow me to serve as your Sherpa and walk you through the epic feud that still obviously has a lot of juice between Michael Jordan and Isiah Thomas. And it all started back in the 1980s, when the bad boy Pistons were ruling the basketball world and winning back-to-back championships in the 1989 and 1990 seasons. But it was Michael Jordan who was by far the best player on the planet at that time. And realistically speaking, Jordan was the best player in the league from his third season on, beginning in 1986-87, when he averaged 37 points per game and finished second in league MVP voting. But it wouldn't be until the next season in 87-88 when Jordan declaratively seized the mantle from Magic and Larry and forcefully took the title of best player in the world when he laid down one of the greatest single seasons ever. That year, Jordan led the league in scoring while averaging 35 points per game, 6 assists, and 5.5 rebounds, and leading the league in steals at a preposterous 3.2 per game, the 8th highest single-season total in league history. Oh, and a mere 1.6 blocks per game as a 6'6" shooting guard. MJ posted the 9th highest win share ever recorded that year at 21.23, which is still the highest win share for any single season dating back to 1973. An absolute bananas season, which netted Jordan league MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. The establishment couldn't hold off GOAT Jordan from ascending to his throne any longer. But in that season's playoffs, Jordan would run up against none other than Isiah Thomas and his Bad Boys Pistons. And it would be the first meeting of 4 consecutive playoff series against each other, running from that 1988 postseason through the 1991 playoffs. And there was, no doubt, a lot of animosity between both parties here, with Jordan the undisputed best individual player at that time, while the Pistons would beat him in 3 straight postseason matchups, beginning with that 1988 league year when Jordan was MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. Of course, the Pistons would devise a famed strategy to stop Michael Jordan, which would later be dubbed the Jordan Rules, which essentially entailed beating the ever-loving shit out of him anytime he got anywhere remotely close to the basket. A strategy that was built up to limit his scoring, and so they did, holding him to only 27 points in the 5-game elimination in 1988. In that series, though, Sam Vincent was the second leading scorer for the Chicago Bulls, who averaged only 12.8 points per game, while rookie Scottie Pippen mustered only a 9-point average for that series. Those Pistons, meanwhile, went on to beat the Boston Celtics in 6 games in the Eastern Conference Finals before falling to the Lakers in 7 during that season's NBA championship round. The next season, in 1988-89, Jordan would this time meet the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals, and he would again come up short. This despite being by far the best player in the series and still dropping 30 point per game, 6.5 assists, and 5.5 rebound averages in the 6-game series. Alas, alleged all-time great Scottie Pippen, now in his second season, could again muster only 9 points per game in the series. The Pistons this season would go on to easily win the NBA title after getting by Jordan in the conference finals, sweeping the Lakers 4-0 in the finals that year. Next season, though, in the 89-90 season, Scottie Pippen would finally ascend to All-Star status, becoming the first one Jordan had ever played with to that stage of his career. Jordan would again return to the Eastern Conference Finals, where he would again clash up against the Detroit Pistons, and again, Jordan would fall to Isiah Thomas and the Pistons. But this time, he would come the closest yet to beating them, taking them to a winner-take-all Game 7. And in that Game 7, in the Palace of Auburn Hills, against the defending world champions and a nemesis that had plagued him for 3 straight years, GOAT Jordan could not have played better, scoring 31 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds on 48% shooting from the field. But no other player on his team, other than Horace Grant, scored in double figures. Grant, the second leading scorer for the Bulls in that Game 7, contributed just 10 points and shot only 3 of 17 from the field, while all-star Scottie Pippen could muster just 2 points on 1 of 10 shooting in 42 minutes. 2 points in 42 minutes. So Jordan again comes up short and again watches on as the bad boy Pistons dominate the finals, beating the Portland Trailblazers 4-1 to defend their title. But in 1990-91, Michael Jordan would again claim league MVP along with the top record in the Eastern Conference. The Pistons again would collide with his Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals in search of their 3rd straight title, but this time, after 3 excruciating failures in a row, primarily only due to his pathetic supporting cast's failures, the Bulls would demolish the Pistons, sweeping them out of the playoffs and ending their mini little dynasty. And with the Bulls blowing the Pistons out in the Game 4 elimination game in Detroit, the main core of that Pistons team, led by Isiah Thomas, all cleared the bench and walked to the locker room with 7 9/10 of a second remaining in the game. So Jordan battles through the adversity of overcoming not 1, but 2 legendary all-time teams in his conference from the start of his career and running to his 7th season in the league. He was playing with literal scraps around him while having the unfortunate luck of playing that Celtics team with 3 top 50 all-time players on it 2 straight years in the playoffs, then playing the Bad Boys Pistons 4 straight years. He doesn't whine or beg for more help. He doesn't crawl his ass to some other superstar city to steal rings. He does everything the right way, gets stronger and more mentally resilient, while awaiting his teammates to remotely catch up to his level and be able to compete with and defeat this team. And he did it while going through all of their brutality for the previous 3 years. Finally, he found an answer though, and this classless scrub, Isiah Thomas, sneaks off of the court like a thief in the night without shaking Jordan's hand. Absolute Bush League move. Jordan, of course, would go on that year to win his first NBA championship, the first of 6 over the next 8 seasons. But there is one more stop along the way of the Jordan and Isiah beef, which needs to be discussed. And for that stop, we have to go back to 1988 and move to Seoul, South Korea, and examine the controversial semifinal game between the US and USSR, where that game was decided between a series of controversial officiating decisions down the stretch. And to compound matters, that Soviets team was comprised of professionals from their domestic leagues, while the US team was made up of a collection of collegiate amateurs. This controversial loss served as a catalyst for the International Basketball Federation to vote to allow professional players in its international events. a rules change that came about in 1989 and opened the door for the NBA's best and brightest to be allowed to represent their country in the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona, a team that would later become known as the Dream Team, which included some of the greatest players in league history en route to their total obliteration of the field, highlighted by a margin of victory of 44 points per game en route to the gold medal that year. And while that team boasted the best of the best from that era, led by Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, David Robinson, and Stockton and Malone, one notable omission was that of Isiah Thomas, an omission that is still a source of utter controversy to this day. And the implications are that it was Michael Jordan specifically who was to blame for the Thomas selection snub by Team USA due to Isiah's behavior in the aftermath of that Game 4 of the '91 Eastern Conference Finals, something Jordan denies still to this day, as he spoke openly about it during the famed Last Dance docu-series, which aired on Netflix in 2020.
You want to attribute it to me? Go ahead, be my guest. But it wasn't me.
Now, for his part, way back when after that game, Isiah Thomas tried walking it all back and claiming he didn't lead the walk-off without shaking hands.
I want you to get the tape and run it back and watch it.
We'll probably run it in this interview.
I didn't lead the walk-off.
A premise Jordan obviously rejects, again in talking about it during The Last Dance.
Well, I know it's all bullshit. Whatever he says now, you know it wasn't his true actions then.
And look, regardless of what actually did or didn't happen back then, clearly these two still think very lowly of one another, a sentiment Jordan confirmed again during that interview for The Last Dance.
There's no way you can convince me he wasn't the asshole.
And, well, Isiah, with his latest BS list, which includes Shaq over Jordan at 7 all-time, is just more confirmation that Thomas isn't over it either. GOAT Jordan got the last laugh. Yes, Zeke and co. beat Mike 3 straight times, but it was Jordan who ended that mini dynasty while launching his own, which to this day is still the greatest dynasty in the modern era this side of the '60s Celtics. It helped seat Jordan as the GOAT, and Thomas, whether it be for his role in the classless walk-off or just for, in Michael's words, being an asshole, cost him from being a part of what many consider the greatest team ever assembled in the '92 Olympic Games. So while this beef officially wages on, there is no doubt that Michael Jordan is winning it, which shouldn't come as much of a surprise since he also won at everything else in his storied career. Guys, many thanks for tuning in. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hype it up, comment, and like it. Also, yes, I'm plugging it again. If you want to see my take on who the top 10 greatest players in NBA history are, you can click this link right now to check that out. Until next time, guys.